Well, Mr. Theodore Ekechi joins us now. He's a member, Election Planning and Monitoring Directorate, Presidential Campaign Council of the All Progressives Congress. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you. My pleasure being here.
You are a member of the APC, and I'm sure you watched live yesterday as the meeting transpired within the caucus. What were your initial thoughts when you heard, for instance, the president reiterating that people should vote for whomever they want, and that, you know, ballot box snatchers or those who intend to rig the polls will be dealt with ruthlessly?
Well, I think the president has been very consistent. If you have been following him from the very first time he tried to be the president of this country, in all his electioneering campaigns, he has been very, very consistent. He has always insisted that the ballot paper should count. He has always insisted that the system should respect the people, irrespective of party affiliation, irrespective of religious affiliation, irrespective of personality, that the electoral system should recognize the right and the power of every individual, every Nigerian who is a registered voter, for that right to count in deciding who becomes what in the political process. So I think what he said yesterday was just a reiteration of what he had always believed in. He has said that people, the INEC let down Nigerians. INEC let down the electorates in spite of all the humongous amount of money that was budgeted for that they asked for and that was given to them on a platter of gold. He is saying that it was beyond or below the expectations, not only of himself, of every million Nigerian, that the electoral process was not concluded on Saturday, as most Nigerians had looked forward to. As an individual, as a candidate, I think he was disappointed because I saw a president who was already sure, given the outcome of all his campaigns, given the outcome of his interactions with Nigerians across the 36 states and Abuja, that he was going to win.
The questions, exactly. The reason I was asking you that question about, you know, vote for whomever you want. Some people will say that, you know, your candidate is not exactly campaigning for himself or the party. He seems also to be campaigning by extension for other parties as well.
Well, that is why he is the president and commander-in-chief of Nigeria, of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, first of all, before he becomes the leader of the APC. Don't forget, he's the president of Nigeria. And what he's saying, he's not only addressing members of the party, he's also addressing all Nigerians. Don't be intimidated. Don't be influenced by vote buying. Vote for any candidate of your choice. That message is across. So it's across to all Nigerians. But don't forget, towards the end of the speech, he also told to the members of APC, when he asked them and challenged them, go out there, do what you are good at doing, and ensure that we win the election. Well, so he addressed Nigerians in two capacities. Firstly, as a president and commander-in-chief, and secondly, as a member of APC and a candidate of APC. So I don't see any ambiguity in what he said just yesterday.
The opposition PDP has reacted to the meeting which you held yesterday. They reacted to some of the statements made by the national chairman of the APC and also the statement made by the president as well. You're seeing the different couching on the front pages of newspapers. Some people say outrage as the president orders ruthless action against election riggers or those who will snatch ballot boxes. The opposition says this is acting outside the confines of the law, that there is no death penalty for those who snatch ballot boxes. Some even say that the comments could be calling for jungle justice or violence at the elections. How would you respond to that?
Well, I have gone through that speech over and over and over again. I do not know where the oppositions are making up what they are making from.
The president said something about snatching the box or, you know, rigging at the expense of your life.
I'm going to come to that. In the whole of that statement, I've not seen anywhere the president mentioned, they used the word kill, shoot, or maim.
But
the president said, deal ruthlessly. And let me explain to you let me explain this to you. The major problems we have been having in our electoral process has been the denial of franchise of people in determining who is who in this in the country. Call it ballot box snatching, call it ballot paper snatching, call it result sheet tearing, result sheet printing, call it violence, call it crime, call it intimidation. Whatever name you give it, anything that anybody does to prevent a fellow Nigerian from casting his vote and making his vote count is a crime against the whole of this country. And it's a crime against the electoral process.
And they will say
so
that
what the president is reiterating,
to handle that,
yes, what the president is reiterating is that law. What I got from within the context of that statement, he's telling the army, he's telling the police, he's telling all the security agencies, please be firm, ruthless, be firm, be unwavering, be undeterred, be unequivocal, be undiscriminatory. It doesn't matter who is involved. It doesn't matter if the person is a member of my party or a member of the opposition party. It doesn't matter if he's a clergy or if he's an ordinary Nigerian. It doesn't matter if he's an alaye or just an alamanjiri in Kano. It doesn't matter the circumstance. It doesn't matter who the person is. Don't give pity. Don't give pity. Leave pity to the courts. Leave pity to the judicial process. The judge will decide whether you should have pity on an individual that has committed an offense or not. But your first responsibility is to ensure that you discharge that duty without fear or favor by ensuring that all those who commit any form of violence or crime within the electoral process are brought to books. I'm
not quite sure that the words that you have used are synonyms with ruthless. You've talked about be firm. I don't know that.
Firm is synonymous with ruthless. You can check off the dictionary. That is not, it's not too far from being ruthless, except you are just trying to extrapolate or maybe make a different meaning together. But within the context of yesterday's address, I think it suggests be firm, be non-discriminatory. Don't allow anybody to intimidate you. Do your work without fear or favor and without any regard to what political affiliation that you, I think that is even the direction we want to look about it. But let me explain this to you. Why is a particular section of the media or the opposition so engrossed with the order that he's giving to security agency to ensure that there is no criminality during the electoral process? Why are they not concerned with the fact that somebody is concerned about the fact that our election has been tainted in the past because people have taken laws into their hands? Why are they not concerned that in taking laws into their hands, that lives have been lost in the process? Don't forget, you don't snatch a ballot paper or you don't snatch a result sheet by just putting your hands in the pocket or just walking like dressed like a clergy. Most of them are gun throttling politicians and thugs who have been armed to the teeth to intimidate, and in the process people have been killed. We're not addressing that. We're not seeing that as a challenge.
Okay, I think that we have someone in Lagos who will respond to that. I mean, the fact that what sometimes some of this violence at the polls are committed violently, and perhaps maybe that's what the president was talking about.
Very violent.
Let me quickly ask you to respond to this allegation or this response by the PDP, saying that your party is playing the victim in this instance, that they have never seen an instance where the ruling party is playing victim, accusing the electoral body of conniving with the People's Democratic Party. I mean, how do we begin
to check the history of the elections that had happened since the president assumed leadership of this country? The president had given the electoral body clear independence in running the affairs of the electoral process in this country, in conducting all the elections that have held it before. He has looked the other way when we lost in the Anambra elections. He has looked the other way when we lost in other elections. And luckily we won in some of the elections. And even within the party, some people have accused him of being too unconcerned about the activities of INEC sometimes by taking the party for granted and taking advantage of his independent posture in INEC running its own affairs. So it is not really surprising that perhaps the politicians, particularly the breed or the crop population that we have within the PDP now, and the desperation that they are showing within the PDP now, that they have infiltrated INEC. I was reading a report by HURIWA, that's Human Rights Writers Association. They pointedly declared that some individuals in INEC have been infiltrated to cause confusion in the electoral process and ensure that the elections become inconclusive. Nobody referring to that.
Part of the instance that your party has talked about is the fact that INEC refused to take names for elections in Zamfara. And also, they also look at Rivers sometimes. But, Rivers, INEC says it's the court who has given us the directive.
I do not really think that is all about to it. But let's look at what happened on the 16th. The witch cried in the night. The baby died in the morning. Do you have to ask who killed the baby that died in the morning? Well, so many things happened before before February 16th, including calls by very respected members of the opposition party asking INEC to postpone the election. And let me explain. Let me say this very quickly.
We have a member of the PDP.
Yeah, let me say this very quickly so that he can respond to that. I have a document that was released by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, a chief of the PDP. Look at item 10. You will see that by the words of item 10, they were privy to the fact that the election was not going to hold on the 16th.
Let's go to Lagos now and get a response to that. Chamberlain. Mr. Theodore Akechi is still with us in the studio. He's a member of the All Progressives Congress. You have continued to accuse the PDP of having prior knowledge to the cancellation of the polls. That you say is the proof of their connivance. And you point to the statement released by Speaker Honorable Dagara. But if you look at the statement, the number 10 which you talk about, it seems to be flowing from number 9. You say, which says, we strongly believe that the deliberate delivery of election materials to the wrong electoral centers, cancellation of flights and other actions that undermined logistics arrangements of INEC were deliberately done to sabotage and manipulate the process. That's what they're accusing you of.
I think they are just being smart by half. But the item number 10 said, and let me read it quickly clearly, we were very familiar with the pressure brought on INEC by top government officials and APC leaders to go ahead with the election, despite not being adequately prepared for the election. How did Dogora
which is flowing from number 9?
Beautiful. How did he know by the 15th that INEC was not adequately prepared to conduct the election on 16th?
When was this election statement released?
Just recently. It's online. It's all over the place.
It was released on the 18th. It was released on the 18th. So, and this is coming from, the statement of INEC saying that they had logistics problem. They are saying you deliberately sabotaged the process, and they are also familiar with pressure brought upon INEC by your party.
When was the pressure brought by INEC? Even if the pressure, let me verify. So even if pressure had been brought by us on INEC, we would have been putting pressure on INEC to postpone the election. The point we are trying to make Nigerians understand is that APC was very ready, adequately prepared for the election of the 16th. That is why the president flew back to Daura to cast his votes. That is why we disbursed all our logistics up to the ward level, up to the polling unit level, before 2 a.m. of the 16th. Whereas PDP held back the disbursement of all their logistics. Check across the state. They never did. Well, but just very quickly before
we're already out of time. I'm afraid we have to have equal time for both parties this morning. I now flip over to Lagos. Just before I go, I've been speaking with Mr. Theodore Akechi, who is the Member Election Planning and Monitoring Directorate Presidential Campaign Council of the All Progressives Congress. Thank you for coming on Sunrise today.
Thank you very much.
Well, back to you, Chamberlain.